go a bit in depth, background about how exactly these things came into the prominence. And I'm taking you back almost 10 years. If you remember, Snowden revelations and disclosures about the PRISM program and so on, they were the first time when a lot of concerns with regard to data privacy actually came into the world stage. And that was the time that initiated a larger debate. This larger debate was centric around the fact that how exactly the data of a data producer, or in Indian data privacy bill, the term is data principal, how exactly the data is being used. Are the private companies monetizing it? And to what extent the privacy of the individual is harmed? Are states engaged into breaching the privacy, which essentially is a fundamental right? This subsequently was followed by a court case that happened between Google and Spain, and subsequently European Union, that resulted into the outcome of what famously we know as the right to be forgotten. And that is one aspect where European Union clearly said so, that privacy is a fundamental right. It's a right that is uh, to be given to an individual globally. Subsequently, you had the following up of data privacy regulations in Europe, uh, primarily known as the GDPR. But at the same time, GDPR is not the only thing that was happening. At the equivalent time scale, you had HIPAA, you had GLBA, you had CCPA. All these revolved around the various aspects of data privacy, and how exactly the data privacy and regulations to govern this particular aspect, this fundamental right of global citizens to be catered to, that was something that was taken up. During the same time, subsequently, the same discourse happened in India also. And most of my legal friends would remember that resulted into the famous court case. The Supreme Court's nine-bench uh, hearing, it was there, and it's been famously known as the Puttaswamy verdict. And that essentially brought onto an important aspect that right to privacy is a fundamental right and is covered under Article 21. That started off a further discourse that how exactly the data privacy regulations, the data privacy aspects need to be looked upon. But before starting into the data privacy bill, let me give you a glimpse upon, I started off with the notion of PRISM program. I started off with the notion of uh, Snowden revelations and so on. This is an important aspect if you need to know, right from an individual, from B2C as well as from B2B. The privacy aspects with regard to data, are you really controlling who is watching your data? Are you really controlling who is using your data and what he is serving you? Many times we keep on saying, this email service is for free, this search engine is for free, this platform is for free. Unfortunately, in this world, nothing is for free. You pay that, and you pay that in the form of your data. And the data is actually, sometimes I keep on, discussing with certain friends of mine that probably, you pay more than what you essentially get in return. You had multiple, there were instances that, for example, Pegasus case, the privacy with regard to individuals were breached. You had cases of various apps, very famously that happened last year itself, that were taking data that is beyond the call for which the app is required for. Now, who controls what amount of data and for what? These are important questions that needs to be addressed to. This is, I'm saying, from external angle. At the same time, there is another sort of discourse that happens, that what about national security? What about security? So there is a very thin red line between privacy and security. To give you an example, the famous FBI case of San Bernardino, if you remember, getting access to the data of certain terrorists, that could have resulted into solving a particular case. So if we have at one aspect the privacy of the individuals, at the same aspect, the same privacy should not infringe into the rights of other individuals. And that is where the law enforcement also comes into the play. Having given you a general perspective of how exactly this swells around, and this is not something that we are talking about hypothetically. Many a times, and most of the people in information security, they see there are data breaches. Your data is being sold off openly onto the web. Many a times you get calls from many a times telecallers. Seriously, how telecallers get your phone number? And the reference calls are too precise because they primarily know that, for example, this guy is right now looking forward to a loan. This guy is looking forward to, let's say, XYZ services. These are very precise. The kind of ads that are being shown to you on your browser, on your email clients, on your messaging or social media apps. I'm not specifically naming any company, but these are very precise marketing techniques which are individualized. And when you say individualized, take my word for it, individuality only comes with data analytics, and data analytics only comes when that data is of your own. And that is how that precise marketing happens. So now the big question applies, where we are in terms of privacy. We started off with a discussion that a lot of these things were taken up specifically after the Puttaswamy verdict, with regard to how Indian scenario can be hardened, can be taken into account, these growing changes and their threats to privacy, resulting in the formation of Justice Sri Krishna report, which resulted into the data privacy bill. Now, data privacy bill is a very well thought after need that has been done by the government. This particular bill, and there are a lot of similarities you can see from the global GDPR that's been followed in Europe. And let me tell you, my friends, why this bill was important and is important for our citizens. If most of you, I do not know whether they know it or not, Google actually won the case of right to protection, and ultimately it clearly said that the right to be forgotten would be limited to only Europeans, EU citizens. It would be restricted to EU, not globally. Now, under these scenarios, where you have, sort of balkanization of these privacy protection regulations, you require these privacy protection regulations within the India itself, and that has resulted into the very formation of the data privacy bill. The data privacy bill, the primary actors is something called as a data fiduciary and the data principal. The data principal is nothing more than the data source in GDPR. Essentially, you, me, any individual which is generating a data is a data principal, and data fiduciary is typically the guys who are processing it, the guys who are taking that data and processing it, utilizing it, serving you, primarily the companies and their subsidiaries which are engaged into that. This bill also provided one very important aspect for delimiting this data into three important categories, and these categories ranged from the personal data to personal and sensitive data and critical personal data. Now, personal data is something that that is identified, relating to a natural person who's directly or indirectly identifiable. The other component is the sensitive data, sensitive personal data, and that's a very important aspect because that is the data which deals with your financial aspects, which deals with your healthcare, official identifiers, sexual preferences, sexual orientation, caste, tribe, or these kind of very intimate details. That's the sensitive and personal data. And the third important aspect is the critical personal data, and this is a certain amount of personal data that is specifically to be notified as critical by the government. And there are appropriate legal regimes in terms of what data can go out of the country, what data there has to be a copy of it, what is called as the data mirroring, or the data localization aspects. For example, like the sensitive personal data is something that has to be localized within India. But an important aspect here is the consent, and that is an important aspect which data principal or you, me, or a common person should know, that you being a data principal, it is the bound duty of data fiduciary or anybody who's processing the data to take your consent. Without your explicit consent, they cannot take the data out. And the best possible thing that is what I liked about this bill was that this resulted into giving the right of taking the consent back to the individual. This also put across certain changes with regard to consent management. So any time in life, if you think that the consent or is to be taken out, you can do that, and this is stated as the right of erasure. And that's a fundamentally very important aspect, because that is what gives the power back to the principal rather than the data controller or data fiduciary. Another important aspect which was typically neglected by, and in fact in my personal point of view it was neglected a lot by corporate sector, was the lack of emphasis to the privacy. And this one aspect has been jostled very well into the bill in the form of creation of data protection officers. It would be mandatory to have data protection officers. At the same time, it resulted into creation of a data protection agency. Now, the data protection agency is primarily one of the very important agency that can essentially look into how these aspects are fundamentally operated upon at an operational level. Another important aspect is with regard to the data breaches. Now, data breaches is something, if you look at the IT Act and the amendment, although they have to be notified, but whether that data breach is resulting into the harm to an individual in terms of infringing its privacy is something that was not fully addressed to, and the bill actually addresses it pretty well. These are some of the things, and that was something that is phenomenal. I really liked the approach specifically with regard to it, because now the power is with the individual. It is with the data principal. You need to decide, you and me need to decide what happens to my data. You and me have the power whether we would like a fiduciary to use our data or we would like to remove that data out of its hands. Another important aspect, and that is primarily from the technical, it's a very long bill, and it has a lot of guarantees in terms of certain aspects with regard to data processing, both by the employer as well as the data fiduciaries. An important aspect which I personally feel and believe that would revolutionize and would start a new chain reaction, specifically in the Indian ICT market, is the idea of privacy by design. We always, in information security, we worked on security by design. You design a system such that it is secure. Now, this bill intends to create out new platforms which entail upon privacy by design. You create out systems which are by design privacy oriented. Most of the friends that are working in outsourcing business that happens from, let's say, Europe or let's say US, they are they have their systems that conform to various regulations. For example, HIPAA, the health related, and then you have GLBA, you have GDPR, and they are compliant to it. Now the time has come for the Indian industry also, and the people who are operating within the dominion of India, to actually look into the aspect of privacy by design. And when we talk about privacy by design, we come to an important aspect of data anonymization, because an important aspect that has been mentioned specifically in this bill is with regard to that the data here we are talking of does not include the anonymized data. And that is what is the key for one of the aspects to ensure privacy. You have various technologies that are there in the data anonymization, right from data masking to pseudo anonymization to generalization, data swapping, data attribution, synthetic data, and so on. Nevertheless, data anonymization guarantees your privacy, but at the same time, my friends, it has certain disadvantages also. You won't be getting very personalized things that typically, you look upon. To give you a small example, for example, if you open a Netflix or any OTT platform, so essentially the way in which you search, essentially based on your choices, the next video or the next movie or a suggestion is primarily tailor made according to your need. So that personalization in part is something that you lose. In the end, and in the concluding, I would say privacy is an important aspect. And I say that the Puttaswamy verdict is a landmark thing that really relates to the important and fundamental right to privacy. And right to privacy, in my personal opinion, is as important as right to freedom itself. If the privacy is ensured, the key aspect is the power of what I share, what I don't share should be with me. It should not be with a third entity who's been controlling out and saying out a forceful consent. An example of it has happened very recently when one of the chatting platforms had updated their privacy policy, and suddenly you had an exodus of mass exodus of from that platform to another platform. Now people should realize, the companies should realize, the fiduciaries should realize that people they should respect the privacy of people. They should respect these particular aspects, and when they are looking into this particular data, the privacy should be a primality, and that should be considered for, taken care for, and there are well established technologies through which this can be guaranteed. Thank you, my friends, and I hope I have given you sufficient amount of discourse with regard to the privacy from the legal as well as the threat perspective and the technical point of view. Once again, thank you very much to the organizers. Thank you all. Jai Hind.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Mr. Amit Sharma, our first speaker, special guest of the inaugural session. Next, I welcome Mr.